All right. The main cause of all this grief, and I'm just going to leave it at grief. There's no other word that can really describe it. Is the freaking severe lack of discipline on this team.
Hmm.
There's mental errors left and right. Like you mentioned at the start of the show, our captains this time were at the head of the
Crazy.
mental error rally this week.
Hmm.
They may have just held a freaking parade at this point. Like, hey, here's the mental error parade. Follow us. It stinks, dude. Like, we
Yeah.
are one Zach Wheeler not roughing the kicker and one Tyreek Hill catching a ball that hits him in the hands away from winning against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night. And yet, here we are, 0-3 with a 10-point loss instead.
Yeah. Not to mention Jordan Brooks.
Oh my God, I
What was it?
forgot about
A
that.
hit? Was it roughing the passer? Is that what it
Well
was?
after the whistle.
Yeah,
There's
it's
nothing you could even argue. I mean, it
like
was
7 steps after the ball was
stupid.
released. So,
Yeah.
there was one more. I can't remember who. Um,
There were so many.
yeah, irregardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a reoccurring theme, right? And you and I are both firm believers in, and we've said it on the show, where with this team, where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Mhm.
And I don't want to hear, oh, we just insert random excuse on why something didn't happen, right? Or, oh, you know what, we're gonna get better. Well, you know what, you should be better. You shouldn't have to. We will work on getting better. You should be better. You guys are
Right.
professional athletes making bajillions of dollars playing a sport that should theoretically consume the majority of your life
Mhm.
until you retire, right? I understand players have other things going on. I get it. But point stands. Coaches, you get paid very handsomely to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, have every single thing available to you that you could possibly need to be successful, from staff to equipment to trainers to film to insert other thing that I can't think of on the fly. And yet we still show up looking like a team that has just for the very first time looked at the playbook today.
Mhm.
And that falls on the coaches. So, yes, it is a player problem, but it starts at the top, right?
Yep.
And that's where the whole conversations about Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer and Anthony Weaver and look, I understand Weaver got dealt a shit hand, right? He really did, with bad cornerbacks, and that really limits and hamstrings what you can do on defense because certain things need time to develop. But the way his defense has looked, Anthony Weaver, and the way Mike McDaniel's often, and I say Mike McDaniel because he's the one that calls the offensive plays, has been atrocious
Mhm.
so far this season. And at what point, where's the accountability? Right. And that is something that this team, it's a constant talking point, whether it's us, whether it's other, more prominent media folks. Where's the accountability? Right.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about him in the next
Mm-hmm.
takeaway. But I mean, I think in the offensive rides and dies with Tua. I mean, you're many years in this league at this point. You're the
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. You should be the leader.
Yeah.
And it's just the offense is regularly not prepared. And
Mm-hmm.
on the defensive side, Zach Sealer. I mean, how surprising is it that we're talking about him in such a negative light uh,
Crazy.
here today? I will say, like, on the positive sides of the discipline and mental errors, at least the time of possession game improved like greatly in this one.
Yep.
28 minutes to 31, which was huge. We talked about that in our preview show. Like we were out time of possession 2-1
Yeah.
in the first 2 weeks of the year. So to see us right that ship a little bit was fantastic. We did have double the penalties of the Bills, but it was 6-3. It wasn't as enormous as it
No.
seems.
But some of the three of those penalties were, I mean, like
The
literally
three
game altering.
That's the problem, is that they were
Yeah.
game changing penalties, but I don't want it to seem like we were penalized 15 times, right?
No, of
um,
course.
6 penalties, 57 yards. Three of them were huge enough that they turned the tide of the game,
Mhm.
which is unfortunate, but I do think that there's more improvement there. Like I said, I'm not a moral victory person, but there are positives to look at
Mhm.
from this game. So time of possession improvement is really 6 penalties. I think on a regular day, if we had made 6 penalties and they weren't game changing as they were, we would have been okay. You
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
fine. Uh, 10 for 15 on third down, fantastic. We're 1 for 1 on fourth down. Like overall, this was our best performance, which wasn't hard to be our best performance.
I mean, that's
Uh,
fair.
but I do think that I was annoyed and disappointed by losing, especially in the way that we did. When you're tied at 21 in the middle of the fourth quarter and you have a real chance, you get the ball back, your defense makes a stop, which was not something we did often in this game. But once I sat back and looked at it and let the anger seep out, which we've had 4 days to do,
that has helped the morale of the show. Drastically.
and regardless of where I want to go away from MMD, I want to go away from Greer. Like, still a Dolphins fan, still looking for us to pick up a win here and there. And I think if you would ask me, will we beat the Jets on Monday night after week 2, I would have said not a chance in hell. If you ask me now after this Bills game, I'd say, well, there's a much better chance than I thought, before.
Yeah. I mean, look, again, right? There's two sides to every coin. Right. And the defense looked drastically better than it had all season.
Yep.
Right. Against the Bills outside of the first quarter, which I guess it took us a quarter to ramp up. Right. Because Josh Allen did whatever the hell he wanted. But, they buckled down and admittedly they did very well. Right. Tua, we'll talk about him later. Okay. But Achane, really great game. And we'll talk about him later. Couple touchdowns to a couple our top 2 wide receivers. That's outstanding, right? Like there are some silver linings to all of this. It's just not enough. And it's one thing to try your best to focus on the silver linings, but what you're doing is you're not focusing on the problems, right? Because you don't want, you insert random fan's name, don't want to deal with it. And I fully understand that. And you know what? Hey, that's a valid thing to do, right? I mean, I get it. It sucks. However, at a certain point, we all need to really come together and understand that this regime is busted, right? There are some serious cracks in this foundation. And we as fans, we care so much. That's why we're so angry, right? If I didn't give a shit about this team, I'd be laughing and saying, well, maybe next year, right? But I genuinely care about this team. I love this team. I've been a fan of this team since I was born. I want to see us do well. And I don't think that we have the pieces in place at certain key positions on the field, but also in certain key positions off the field, as in coaches, to make the turnaround.
Yeah, it is depressing when even positions you thought you could rely on are underperforming.
Yep.
Which I think if the season keeps going the way it is, I think we will see a much cleaner house than even we anticipate. I think there's going to be a lot of names that people may not be okay with seeing be let go.
Yep.
Yeah.